My name is Garrett, and this story takes place during my sophomore year of college. After my freshman year, I didn't secure a dorm room, so I scrambled to find off-campus housing. To make a long story short, I ended up in a co-op that was part of a three-house community. While it wasn't the most ideal living situation, it was affordable, and I didn't mind the extra travel time to campus, especially since I had a bike. Most of the residents were students like me, but there were a few exceptions. A handful of alumni, a couple of teaching assistants, and a few older individuals who were pursuing their degrees later in life also lived there. However, there was one resident who immediately caught my attention. An older woman living in one of the other houses. She appeared to be in her late 50s, though her appearance made her look somewhat older. She had graying hair and walked with a limp, suggesting some sort of back injury. She was a quiet person, often keeping to herself, and always wore a blank expression. At first, I assumed she had some connection to the university, perhaps as a faculty member or an alumnus, but no one ever explained her presence, and I never asked. The first strange incident occurred one evening in the common kitchen. This was a little odd, given that the other two houses had their own kitchens. I wasn't sure why she was hanging out in ours. She wasn't cooking or eating, nor was she engaging in conversation with anyone. She simply stood there, watching as the rest of us went about our evening, talking, cooking, and listening to music. I caught her gaze a couple of times, and a part of me felt as though she was staring at me specifically, though I quickly dismissed the idea as unlikely. No one acknowledged her presence, which struck me as strange. I wondered if they knew something I didn't. Later that week, while doing homework in my room, I happened to glance out the window. To my surprise, I saw her standing in the middle of the street, looking up at my window. It was getting late, and it was pretty cold outside, so I couldn't understand why she would be standing there. She wasn't even on the sidewalk, but right in the middle of the street. I couldn't tell if she was looking directly at my window or just in the general direction of the house, but it felt as though she was staring at me. On impulse, I waved at her, trying to be friendly. Immediately, I regretted it. Instead of waving back, she jumped up and down a few times, almost as if she were excited, then ran toward one of the other houses, presumably hers. I felt a wave of unease wash over me. Not only had I acknowledged her, but I had also confirmed that she had been watching my room the entire time. Even if she hadn't been staring directly at me, she now knew which room was mine. That night, I asked one of my housemates about her. He told me she had always been part of the community but didn't know much else about her. He suggested that I try to ignore her like everyone else did. I pressed for more information, but he seemed uninterested, repeating only what someone had told him when he moved in. That didn't sit right with me, so I began asking around. One of the seniors in the house where she lived mentioned that she was associated with the university, though she was somewhat eccentric. He assured me that she didn't have a history of violence and advised me not to worry too much about her behavior. When I asked why no one found her presence odd, he explained that the property manager was the one who decided who lived there, not the residents. I wasn't satisfied with that answer, but I had no choice but to try to forget about her. Unfortunately, things only got worse. One night, I stepped out of my room to find her standing right in front of my door. I was startled, nearly bumping into her. It was past midnight on a Tuesday, so the house was mostly quiet. She didn't say anything or react in any way. She simply turned and walked away as if I were the one intruding. Over the next few weeks, similar occurrences took place. I would catch her snooping in places she had no business being or doing things that seemed completely out of place. At one point, I lost my room key. In our co-op, all the rooms had personal locks and keys, but most people left their doors unlocked. I was one of the few who kept my door locked at all times, so losing my key was a big inconvenience. Everyone had a spare key, including me, but the process of getting a new copy was something I'd rather avoid. A few nights later, I woke up suddenly in the middle of the night. I couldn't figure out why, but then I heard it. A soft thumping noise, almost rhythmic, coming from my closet every 20 seconds or so. It sounded like something shifting behind the closet door, like something moving inside. Though I'm not usually someone who scares easily, this was definitely unsettling. I decided to investigate. I quietly got out of bed, trying to keep my breathing steady. My heart raced as I approached the closet. With one swift motion, I flung open the door, only to scream in terror. There she was, the woman from the other house, standing in my closet with one of my ties wrapped around her neck. Her eyes were wide open, and she was holding a kitchen knife in her hand. My scream startled her, and before I could react, she lunged at me, the knife outstretched. The pure terror I felt was overwhelming, but I managed to wrestle her to the ground, disarming her easily given her frail and small frame. Despite her size, she fought back, kicking and biting. I screamed again, this time in pure fear. I yelled for help, and soon I heard doors slamming as my housemates rushed to my aid. My friend Lee arrived first and helped me pin the woman down while another housemate called the police. The rest of the night became a blur. The police arrived quickly and arrested her on the spot. By that point, she had stopped screaming but refused to speak a word, which made the situation even more unsettling. As it turned out, the woman was the property manager's sister. He had been allowing her to live in one of the unoccupied rooms, despite her severe mental health issues. Instead of seeking proper care for her, he had let her stay there, essentially under the radar. The police found my lost room key on her when she was arrested, confirming the chilling reality. A few weeks later, we learned that the property manager had been arrested for negligence and a series of other charges. Though I do feel sympathy for the woman's struggles, the fact remains that she tried to harm me that night. I could have easily lost my life. As I prepare to graduate soon, I can't help but reflect on that time. While I'll certainly miss college, I don't think I'll ever be able to look back without remembering that night and the terrifying experience I had with her.